Everyone loves cars, but there's a darker side you probably never knew. Paul Newman, one of the greatest actors of all time, voiced Doc Hudson in Cars. What many people don't realize is that this would be one of his final roles before his death in 2008. Newman was a professional race car driver himself, and he loved the role because it connected to his real passion. After his passing, Pixar made the choice to retire Doc's character instead of recasting him. In Cars 2, Doc is absent. Not explained much, but for fans, the loss is heavy. In Cars 3, they brought Doc back briefly, using archival audio from unused recordings and even video game voice work. Every line Doc speaks in Cars 3 is built from Paul Newman's old recordings, carefully pieced together, giving him one last lap around the track. Radiator Springs isn't a fantasy town. It's based on real places along Route 66 that were left to rot after the interstate highways were built. Whole towns dried up, diners, motels, gas stations left behind. Pixar's team took a road trip along the old Route 66 to find inspiration, meeting with the remaining residents of these forgotten places. The movie is filled with references to towns like Amboy, California, where entire businesses have been abandoned since the 1960s. The decay in Radiator Springs mirrors a real piece of American history, a commentary on how progress left entire communities behind. The ending we know, McQueen sacrifices the win to help the king, is heartwarming. But early scripts had something else in mind. McQueen losing, not just the race, but his sponsors, his fame, and even his friends. Pixar writers explored the idea of a brutal reality check for McQueen, showing that arrogance would leave him completely alone. In the drafts, he would finish the race, but no one would care. Audiences would walk out feeling bittersweet, a rare tone for a Pixar movie. Ultimately, the team decided to soften the story, focusing on humility and friendship instead of crushing failure. Tow Mater is funny, lovable, but his real inspiration is heartbreaking. He's based on the many rusted, broken-down trucks left behind in ghost towns. No owners, no purpose. When you see Mater alone in his lot, it's not just comic relief, it's tragedy. He's a forgotten relic of the past. The idea of a truck abandoned to rust, still trying to make friends and matter in a world that's moved on, gives Mater's character an emotional weight most fans miss. Pixar didn't settle for faking the sound of crashes. They bought real cars and smashed them, recording the exact crunches and squeals of metal and glass. The sound designers used everything from controlled demolitions to junkyard accidents to get the most authentic noises possible. Every time you hear McQueen crash, it's not CGI sound design, it's the real heavy sound of metal destruction. A lot of effort for realism, but kind of dark when you think about it. Doc Hudson isn't just a character. He's based heavily on real racers like Herb Thomas, a legendary NASCAR driver who dominated the 1950s but suffered a serious crash and was forced into early retirement. Paul Newman himself was a race car driver, winning 4 national championships, and he deeply related to Doc's story of glory lost too soon. When you realize that Doc's sadness and wisdom in Cars hit even harder, it's not just fiction, it's a reflection of countless real-life racing legends forgotten by history. In early drafts, Lightning McQueen wasn't just cocky, he was borderline villainous. Test audiences hated him. He was written as selfish, rude, and completely uninterested in helping anyone. Pixar almost scrapped the entire project because kids couldn't connect with him. Only after deep rewrites adding scenes where McQueen slowly grows empathy, like fixing the town road and bonding with Mater, did he become a true hero. Without that fix, Cars could have been Pixar's first major flop. The world of Cars looks amazing, but it came at a price. Pixar's animators worked 12 to 16-hour days during crunch periods, spending years perfecting little details, the way dust clouds behave, how sunlight reflects off car paint, how tires skid on dirt. Many animators developed burnout, and some left the company altogether after Cars wrapped. The toll of chasing perfection is something Pixar rarely talks about, but it's there, hidden under every beautifully rendered frame. Radiator Springs' story isn't just fictional sadness, it's a real-world tragedy. When Route 66 was bypassed by Interstate 40, towns that relied on passing travelers collapsed almost overnight. Gas stations closed, diners went out of business, entire towns fell silent. Pixar's creative team took a trip across Route 66 and spoke to locals still holding on. One man said, "We used to have 100 people stop every day. Now, if we get one, it's a miracle." Radiator Springs became a loving tribute to these lost places, but it also captures the heartbreak of what progress can leave behind. Cars 2 is known as a wacky spy movie, but that wasn't the original plan. Initially, it was going to tackle something much darker, a global fuel crisis. Pixar planned a storyline involving corporate greed, environmental collapse, and oil shortages threatening the world economy. It was supposed to show how cars fought over dwindling resources. Pretty intense for a kid's movie. Eventually, the studio decided to go in a lighter, sillier direction, but hidden in the final version are hints of that earlier draft: shady oil companies, fake clean fuel scandals, and conspiracies, a little darker than you'd expect from a movie about talking cars. Rust-eze, McQueen's sponsor, is a joke on the surface, a goofy company selling bumper ointment, but it's based on real shady industries. In the 90s and 2000s, companies sold phony car treatments and fake warranties to desperate customers, scamming people out of millions. Rust-eze pokes fun at that world, a company pretending to care about old, broken-down cars, but really just slapping on a coat of shine without fixing anything underneath. Many of the cars in Cars are based on real, now extinct brands. Doc Hudson is a 1951 Hudson Hornet. Hudson was a real brand that died out in the 1950s. Other characters like the Plymouth Superbird-inspired The King represent cars and companies that have long been buried by the big auto giants. It's a subtle way the film reflects the idea that even legends can be forgotten, replaced, or crushed under corporate mergers, just like real life. Larry the Cable Guy brought Matter to life, but it cost him. During production and promotional tours, he stayed in Matter's voice for months, doing interviews, meet and greets, and live events. The strain on his vocal cords was so bad that Larry developed throat issues and needed rest periods to avoid permanent damage. Behind the laughs, playing Matter took a real physical toll, a hidden cost most fans never saw. Ever notice how cars have doors, windows, seats? But no humans exist. The world of Cars is full of strange, unsettling details. They have airports, hotels, and even restaurants. For who, exactly? Pixar never fully explains it. Fans have speculated everything from a post-human world where machines inherited the Earth to a sinister AI uprising that wiped out humanity. Whatever the truth, it makes the bright, colorful world of Cars feel just a little bit eerie once you start asking questions. While Pixar was making Cars, the real racing world faced tragedy. In 2001, racing legend Dale Earnhardt Sr. was killed during the final lap of the Daytona 500. A chilling reminder of how dangerous the sport really is. Pixar never officially commented on this connection, but the shadow of real-world racing loss hangs over the film. Doc Hudson's story, the crash that ended his career, feels even more emotional when you realize how many real drivers have faced the same fate, not always with a happy ending. In Cars 3, Lightning McQueen is replaced by younger, faster racers like Jackson Storm. This mirrors the real racing world where once legendary drivers are often forced out once they can't keep up with newer technology and rising stars. Athletes in NASCAR, Formula One, and IndyCar face brutal ageism, a harsh reality that Cars 3 doesn't shy away from. McQueen's struggle isn't just fictional, it's a reflection of how even champions eventually get left behind. Early drafts of Cars 3 considered killing off Lightning McQueen. Pixar thought about giving him a career-ending crash, or even having him sacrifice himself to save another racer. The idea was scrapped for being too heavy for a family audience, but the fact that Pixar even considered it shows how dark the series nearly became. Instead, they went with McQueen gracefully retiring, a softer but still emotional ending. Cars 3 isn't just about racing, it's about automation. Jackson Storm and the new generation of racers are faster, more efficient, and trained by technology, not experience. It's a subtle nod to real-world concerns about automation replacing human workers, a theme that runs deeper than most viewers realize. Pixar used McQueen's struggle against Storm as a way to talk about how innovation can leave even the best behind. Before settling on the tone we know, early Cars concept art painted a different world, one where humanity had vanished, and cars had evolved to survive on their own. Deserted cities, overgrown highways, crumbling skyscrapers, Cars was almost a post-apocalyptic survival story. While the final version is lighter and more colorful, the early ideas were much bleaker, a world where machines outlived their makers. Pixar created a deleted scene in Cars 3 where Lightning McQueen has a way worse crash than what made the final movie. In the released version, McQueen's crash is intense. He flips, bounces, and slides into the grass. But in early drafts and rough animations, the crash was way more brutal. McQueen was supposed to roll over 10 times. His car body would crumple and collapse, smoke and sparks would fill the screen. It was so graphic that Pixar toned it down, worried it would traumatize kids. But if you dig through early animation reels and concept sketches, you can find hints of that original, devastating crash. A reminder that Cars was almost much darker and more realistic than anyone expected. Which dark fact shocked you the most? Comment below, and don't forget to subscribe for more untold Pixar stories.